Hello everyone, welcome to today's video. We'll be discussing about a morality topic. Have you ever asked yourself why at some situations, despite of knowing what to do, you always do opposite of what you know you should do? And discussing this topic, I will be using the theory called triethics meta. It was postulated by a lady called Dasha Navis, and her works were more of a development from the work of a neuroscientist that was called Paul MacLean. So Paul MacLean came up with the idea that the brain has three states, and these three states they dictate how we actually respond in situations. Dasha took these works of Paul MacLean and started to answer the question of not what is right and what is wrong, but actually why we act the way we act. Like what is that motivation or that reason behind sometimes the way we act? Because um, traditionally psychology was much based, or the idea of morality was much based on what is right and what is wrong, but she went ahead further to discuss about why we act the way we act. And so she uses the three states in the mind. So there is the first state is called the self-preservation. The second state is called the affiliation, and the third stage is called reflection. And so these three states, they are the states of the mind, and I will explain all of them. Don't worry, I will explain all of them and why they actually answer the ethical part of why we act, like the ethics. So in the first one, it's called the self-preservation. And so in the self-preservation state, the mind, maybe in presence of stress or in presence of danger, your stress response system is always activated, and it's always directed to preserving you. For example, if you put your hand up on a hot metal, you will remove your hand immediately because your system recognizes that as a threat, or it recognizes it as danger. And so the stress action is always activated, and you will pull out your hand faster away from it. So in this state, the mind is, or your brain is trying to preserve you. So at this point, every action that happens in this state, when this state is dominant, is always self-centered. It's always about you. So for example, someone is criticizing you or someone wants to embarrass you. At that point, your stress response system in the brain will try to act in a way to protect you. So if someone is trying to criticize you, you will find that many people enter to a defensive mode and they become aggressive. Not sometimes it's not that these people they are immoral, but that state of the mind has become so strong that it, okay, when you are in this state, what happens is that it narrows down your executive action. When I mean executive, I mean the aspect of reasoning, the aspect of abstracting yourself from the emotions. Like it lowers your reasoning capacity, so it lowers the capacity of you to actually even be empathetic. So in this state, all the actions that come from it, or the orientation of it, is always self-centered. So you'll find many people get aggressive, they become defensive, and that state of the mind gives rise or gives path to that action. And the second state is the state of affiliation. So this state is mostly connected. Affiliation means to the need, that desire to feel connected to others. So in this state tries or focuses more on connecting with the other people. It is more based on emotions, like the emotions of play, care, affection, compassion, all those emotions. So it's more focused on others. No, the first one was more focused on self, like protecting you. That's why it's called the self-preservation. So the second one is it's more oriented to like the others. So in this state, you always want to know, or you want to feel connected to the other people. Maybe you found your friend crying, you know, that state of the mind called affiliation will want you to go and ask the friend what is going on, what happened, why are you crying. It will make you to feel compassion and to be compassionate, to care. So that state, it's the state called the reflection. So this is a state that is more logical. So in this state, the brain can be able to abstract from the current situation, and then you can be able now to weigh different options. So maybe someone insults you. So when you're in this state, you can be able to, get out of that situation. Like in your mind, you abstract your mind from the situation and now reason out. I can insult them back. I can be quiet and calm and go. This is the point that you start now reasoning, and your mind says, if right now you become aggressive, then a fight will come up. You will fight. You will find you've abused each other. You've beaten each other. So this is the state that helps you to. But one thing that all of us, we experience the three states, but we do not experience the same measure. We do not experience them in the same strength, timing, and ease. All of us, we experience them differently. And now this is now the main focus of all this discussion, because if you're a person that will be more oriented on the first state, like the first state will always be more dominant, and I'll tell you why any state can be dominant. So if you're a person that gets the self-preservation state becomes dominant, you'll always find yourself more self-centered and more aggressive. You cannot be able to accommodate other people's perspective. When someone disagrees with you, you get aggressive. When someone corrects you, you start being defensive, you start abusing them, because you do not you understand that situation as a threat. So every time you'll not be able to take the other people's perspective, you'll not be able to take correction from other people, because you're more focused on self-preserving yourself. And the reason you want to preserve yourself so much is because of your understanding about reality, about your perception, about the situation that is there. So if the second state is more dominant, the affiliation, then you will be more connected and you will be more empathetic to people. That when someone, maybe you greet someone and they don't greet you back, you will not see it as ignorance or they have ignored you. You will see it differently. Maybe they were busy, maybe there's something that's running in their head, so they did not see me. Maybe you may text someone, they are not replying. You not start saying, this person is ignoring me, I'm not important to them. You will have that second thought of, maybe they are busy, maybe they are doing something else, they will come back to me. So it helps you to be connected to that other person. So if the first person is not greeted, they will always feel threatened, like you're hurting me, you're rejecting me. So they may end up, being, why didn't you greet me? Why did you? That will be their reaction. But if the second state is dominant, you will be more affiliated to people. You want to understand why did you do that? So, and you will understand and be able to take perspective. And if you do not ask them why they did that, you will understand it. Maybe they were busy, they were doing something else. And these two, the first state is more connected to the stress response system. It's more of the amygdala. Amygdala is now the part of the brain that is responsible for that response to defect and threats. It's the part of amygdala and the hypothalamus that now regulates all of that. Now the second one, it's more based on the upper limbic system. So this is the part of the brain that is more it's more of the emotion part of the brain. So, and now the third one is now the reflection. So the reflection state, it's more based on the prefrontal cortex. The prefrontal is more of the planning, the decision making, thinking. It's more of the executive function of the brain, like it's the upper part of the brain. So the third state is more focused on that part. The second state is more focused on the upper limbic for the emotion, and the first one is more of the amygdala and hypothalamus. So the the third state allows you to get out of the current situation and reason out why or what are the different options I have in this same situation. I can choose to do this, I choose to do this. Like, despite of all this happening, you can get out of that emotional state and decide. There are reasons why any state can be dominant. So there is that the first reason is the present situation. So if someone raises their voice at you, the brain has to decide if that is a threat. You see, if someone can raise a voice at you, maybe they can be shouting at you, maybe insulting you, but also someone can be, maybe it can be your friend that is not excited and sharing to you different things. So the brain has to decide and to know, is this a threat? Is this someone shouting at me a threat? So that is the context of the situation. The second one is more based on your past experiences. And now this is the more important, because if you've learned that maybe things like relationship and people cannot be trusted, or you've had a background where people have always hurt you, you will always see an ambiguous situation as a threat. So you can have person A and person B. You can have person A grew up in a place where they were taught, or when they did anything wrong, they were corrected in love, and they knew that someone correcting you is, they are not intimidating you, they are not bringing you low. But there's another person that grew up in an environment where if they did anything wrong, they were always punished, they were always criticized, they were always rejected. And so these two people, if maybe they're in a setting, maybe they are doing maybe a practical, maybe in a laboratory, if you tell them this is a mistake, both of them will take that information differently. The first person that is okay with it, is okay with correction, will take it and ask, oh, so where did I go wrong? Can you help me out? Where did I go wrong? They will admit it. Now the other person will feel attacked because their brain understands that situation as a threat, because that's what their past experiences has always told them. So they will definitely go into a defensive mode, and they'll be like, even you can come and do it. You think I have been here doing nothing? Come, continue doing it. You see, the responses of these two people is very different. And you see, for the first guy, it will be very easy for the second and the third state to be more dominant, and the person B, the first state, to be more dominant, because person B has been able to develop the self-regulation system, like of the mind, because they have been able to understand that someone criticizing you, or someone telling you you've done something wrong, they are not actually attacking you. Like, you can be at peace with it. You see, and another thing about past experiences is that she talks about is about the development, the growth, and the interaction between an infant and their mom, or the foster care, or anyone that is caring for them. When a child does not have a regulated, self system around them, so they depend more on the mom, or the one that is helping them. So if a child cries, the one that is caring for them may come and tell the baby, oh, don't worry, I'm here, keep quiet. And so when that pattern repeats itself, the child is crying, the mom comes and comforts. The child will start to understand and develop and know that even if I am angry, or even if I am pissed off, I can also be calm, because they have been trained that by that constant assurance, I'm here, don't worry, keep quiet. So they now start learning about self-regulation. But if you had a bad mom that did not affirm you in that way, you will not, your brain, that part of the brain will not form well, because for the brain, there is a connection between now that limbic part and the prefrontal. The limbic part is part of emotions, and there is a prefrontal context. So even if your mind, even if there is an emotion that is strike, because everybody experiences the three states. Even if there is that emotion of care to people, if your system of regulation is not developed well, because there is now what connects them is called like a bidirectional pathway. So they communicate to each other. So if this pathway is not developed well, no matter how the affiliation state wants to act, the prefrontal is what determines, like, the action. So despite of how you feel, you're not able to act it. You get it? So when you grow in an environment that did not train you or for that self-regulation part of system in your mind to be developed, you will always be more focused on the first state will always be more dominant, because we say that the prefrontal is more based with the second and the third. So if the third one is the one that helps you to get out of the situation and reason out, then that system has not developed. So you will definitely be that person that act out of emotions. You will just be acting. There is nothing that is, you do not sit down and reason on the situation or what is happening around that situation. And so these three states, they regulate or they govern how we act, how we respond to different situations. And they also the current physiology state, the stress level, despite, and all this, they are always affected by your perception of things. So these are the three states that always govern the way we respond and act. And when we learn to develop the self-regulation part of the brain, by if you are in an argument with anyone, or you're being criticized, if you can learn to pause, because your brain system, the moment you're criticized, automatically it's involuntary, like it will be automatic, you will want to defend yourself, because that is how the brain wants to defend you. And that it lowers your ability to reason and to think with people. So you have to develop the aspect of calming down and avoid acting in that state when it's overwhelming. So learn to always pause, and after pausing, now at that point you can be able to calm yourself, and then you can now take advantage of the reflection state of the mind, and now get out of that emotional state. Ask yourself, what can happen if I act impulsively? What can happen? A fight can emerge from just something small that can just keep quiet and go. So if you do not learn to develop that that's the self-regulation part of the brain, that helps like your brain to communicate in the three states, that despite of how you feel attacked, you can be able to take advantage of the affiliation aspect of the affiliation state of the mind that wants to connect, and also the part of the reflection state that now wants to get out of the emotion or that state, emotional state, and reason out on what is the best thing to actually do. So this is the reason why you have been acting the way you are acting. This is the reason why you've been acting impulsively in emotions. You've been acting maybe in a more mature way by being calm, reasoning, and having conversation with people. So you have to train yourself that even if people bring arguments, you know, when you learn self-regulation is when you start learning things like you can disagree with people, you can have different opinions. It doesn't mean that they are threatening your existence. They are not threatening your 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 value. They're not threatening you. It's okay for people to have different opinions. So when someone disagrees with you, you don't have to enter into the self defense mode. You can be okay with it and not take it as a threat, and take it as, I mean, it's okay. Tell me why you think that's the case. Tell me why you think we should your argument is more plausible. So at that point, you can be able to have good conversation, like honorable conversation with people. Like when someone disagrees with you, don't enter defense mode and start yelling and yapping. You can be calm and ask, okay, I would like to learn more about your view. I would like to learn more about why you view this thing as this, why you have this argument for this situation. I would like no, and you'll find yourself you have more meaningful conversation with people, and you'll be able to understand much better and appreciate different thoughts on the same thing. So that's all for today. Thank you. Let's meet next week.